Today we're going to look at scientific notation, its meaning, and how to change numbers to and from scientific notation, and also how to use scientific notation on a calculator. So ordinary notation is when you write a number showing all the available numbers. It could be something as small as this or something as large as that. Whereas scientific notation is a convenient way to represent very large or very small numbers. So the way we do this is we rewrite the number as a product of a number greater than or equal to 1 and less than 10 with the power of 10. So in general format, it just looks like this definition. P times 10 to the k, where P is some number between 1 and 10, not including the 10, and K is an integer. And some examples of scientific notation would be a number like this, 3.4 times 10 to the 4th, or 5.03 times 10 to the negative 3. What the powers represent, that's the K, is if it's positive, then we're looking at a big number. But if the K or if the power is negative, then we're considering a small number. So let's look at first changing ordinary to scientific notation. To convert a number from ordinary to scientific, we've got to move the decimal point so that there's only one non-zero digit to its left. So the number of places that we move is going to be the power of the 10. And remember now, K is positive if it's a large number, and K is negative if it's a small number. So if we're converting 34,000 to scientific notation, then first of all, we've got to move that decimal point, and it's not shown, so it's at the end of the number, but we need it to be between 3 and 4. So we need to move that decimal point 2, 3, 4 places to the left. Okay, and that was a large number, so the K is positive. So this is 3.4 times 10 to the 4th power. Now, if we're going from scientific to ordinary, it's just working in reverse. So if we've got this here, this ordinary notation of 3.47 times 10 to the 5th, and that's in scientific, and we're writing it in ordinary, then what we've got to do is think about moving our decimal point 5 places. We're making this a large number, so we're moving it to the right 5 places. Now, to start moving, we can move 2 pretty easily, but we don't have anything else. Well, we fill those in with zeros, those extra places there. So our final answer ends up being 347,000. That's changing this scientific notation to ordinary. And one more here, making the change. Suppose we have this very small number that we want to change to scientific notation. Well, the decimal is currently between the first 2 zeros in that number, but we need it to be between 8 and 0. So we've got to move it how many places? We need to move it 3. And since we're working with a very small number, that power is going to be a negative 3. So our answer ends up being 8.06 times 10 to the negative 3 power. Now, one of the problems in my math lab was this one, which talks about the diameter of a star is given as 3.1 times 10 to the 7th power meters. But that diameter is 120 times the diameter of a planet that orbits it. Okay, so that diameter of the star is 120 times the diameter of the planet. And we're trying to find the diameter of the planet. So what we need to do is take that number in scientific notation and divide it by 120. So this gives us our final answer. And we're just plugging this into our calculator. 3.1 times 10 to the 7th. Find an answer for that. Divided by 120. And then express our answer in scientific notation as 2.6 times 10 to the 5th power. A number of meters.